Welcome to the PARAcast. I'm your host, Tomas the Boss Hernandez, joining you in the basement. And there's a lot of pictures. Stuff's getting put away. Other stuff has been put away. It's been fantastic.
Slowly looking better and better.
Slowly, well, it was looking really good when it was like when nothing was in the house. I liked it. There's like, oh, look at all this clean space. And then now it's gotten a little bit more, but stuff's getting put up. Every day I go to
Is-
sleep and I wake up and more stuff has been put away. It's fantastic.
Isn't it kind of funny how when you first see a space, we have this with owners all the time. When they first see the space and the drywall is in, they're like, "Damn, I think we overbuilt. This is too big. We can't." And then they start putting the furniture in. They're like, maybe we should have built bigger."
Yeah,
It's
like
the craziest. It's the craziest thing.
furniture wise, like we got stuff that we thought we were gonna keep and we're gonna toss out, and but we have like Paige has so many paintings and pictures. Like we bought some shelves, then I was like, these shelves are too cheap. Like let's just buy like better shelves and we'll hang them up on the walls and hang pictures up on there. But like, what do we
Paige, we're
do?
going to the IKEA.
What do we do with the other 40? you know,
Yeah, right.
so that's kind of what it is. At least my guns all fit in the in the place where I have them. So it's just, anyways, the other voice you hear, I'm Tom Nelson, by the way. The other voice you hear, joining me tonight, inventor of Braille video games, but no one saw the value in it. It's Robert Wyatt.
Jeez. The weirdest thing, like in my business, in my industry, is like they make us put like braille on like wall placards and things like that. And it's like, okay, how in the hell is a
I've
blind
never, I've,
person gonna know?
I've never got that where it's just like, clack, 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 clack. What is this? Is this a broom? Like, I would understand, like, they'd hit something, then rub their hands. There's
Yeah.
the placard, closet, black, clack, 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 or whatever. But like, fire escape or something like that. This is like, no, somebody's gonna grab them and take them over. But like,
So, do you want to know the actual answer? I felt the same as you. I'm like, this is stupid. Why? This is just another nod to the stupidity of ADA. And then somebody actually explained it. Legally blind is vastly different than like blindfold can't see anything blind. So there are people who are legally blind who can still actually see, but they just can't see well enough to functionally operate in real life. And I'm like, oh, okay, that sort of makes sense. And so they can see movement, they can see shapes and things,
yeah,
and so they can know enough. If they see a placard, they can know enough to go up there and actually start putting their fingers on it and
to figure
figure
it
it
out.
out.
Well, gosh damn it, now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I know. And then before, I liked it before when I could just mock the stupidity of all government agencies, but then somebody explained it, and I'm like, oh, okay, fine, be that way.
You know what we need? There's not enough Braille license packaging for merchandise. Like, what if there's like a great like Attack on Titan anime, mostly blind person, like he just like sits there and listens to it and enjoys the colors, but like he doesn't know the quality of the thing we're trying to sell him. So if we get into Braille packaging, he can be like, I wonder if this is Attack on Titan merchandise, and then he can rub his fingers across it and be like, it's not. It's not. This is a Todd
Okay.
McFarlane baseball thing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of Mark McGuire. And then he puts it down, then he picks up another one on the Toys R Us rack and then feels it. And then the real money, Braille Amazon packaging. It comes to the door. The mostly blind person picks it up and feels it and goes, that's the cat food. And then they put it, and then they get their other little things, and so they go like, that's my glasses case, those are my new earbuds. And so that way they can sort them out before they get into it. And this is something that you could sell a bit, like you can't sell this to a small company. You can only sell this to a big company that's just like, we have the money to blow on being inclusive for this 0.002% of our customers. We are going to go do this for them.
Hey, that's what DEI is. They did it for the trannies and the minorities. They'll absolutely do it for the blind people, right? Oh wait, no, they won't do that.
No, not the really functionally
Not the people who really
sane to
need
sue.
it. Yeah.
Anyways, hold on one second. I'll be right back. Right back.
Do 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 do. See, now people who are watching it, they can actually like take a look and they can silently start judging all the stuff in Tommy's background. See, we got a plug-in lamp like you'd see in your very first apartment. There's the artwork of pages. I
Forget
think there's a cup sitting on the half wall.
what was that?
I'm just giving people a description of all the stuff they see in the background.
Hey, you got youtube.com PARAcast. That's a thing of turmeric. I was gonna take some, but I didn't have a glass down here. So pour me some water.
Oh, this
Anyways,
turmeric. It's a powder.
it's
It's
an
a spice or something.
anti-inflammatory. Yeah, it's like a root.
Ah,
That they
okay.
put it in pill form. That one, no matter what it touches, it stains. So it's great. So it just stains everything.
Ooh, is
Uh,
it like red or something?
it's orange.
Orange. Oh, gotcha,
Oranges.
gotcha.
Beretta 92 front sight staked in front sight. Anyways, I'm falling in love with the idea of shooting prod. So I like moved stuff over, got another boss hanger, got the magazine pouches out, and I'm like, really want to shoot this Beretta. So I ordered a front sight from Dawson for it.
You should totally do it because Ollie. I think is the only person who shoots production on the regular up at Slipsa, and so he'll be finally happy to have somebody who has some competition skills that he can go up against because he's pretty darn good.
I don't know what skills are in the tank or what I can do. Like I was just happy the other day to be like, oh, I can still kind of draw and shoot in like point .8 and be like odd a light pulse, but like the dry fire stuff's coming along. The grip pressure stuff, I think when I get into live fire is gonna be kind of the weird thing because I've had my grip keeper. I have my Glock 17 Gen 5, and they're going to need a new one. Because you can't have just the Gen 5. My Gen 5 grip keeper with the trigger and the Delta Point Pro on it, and I've been like, messing around with that a lot at night, just pointing at stuff far away, pressing the trigger, messing around with my hand pressure, and then trying to keep that hand pressure. The one thing I notice is with the hand pressure, like if you're switching around on different platforms, as soon as you like grab like the Beretta over something like the Glock, like immediately my right hand tenses up for the double action. And so it's
Right.
just like trying to figure out set the hand
You
pressures and
know,
do that in
here
proper time.
here's some, for your dry fire. Here's something I to consider. Do whatever you want, right? You've got that thing's got the D spring in it.
Yeah, 16-pound D.
Put the heavier stock ones
The
back
the
into it.
20, yeah, the 20-pounder.
Yeah. And the only reason I say that was because when I got this, the AccuShadow, I left the springs the way they were, and I was used to like my 11-pound hammer spring, and when I had to actually start pulling through, I think it's a 13-pound spring. I was like, oh, I'm actually having to grip this thing in a way that I've become accustomed to not doing, and I left it. I kept running, and I actually found that like just because I was now exerting more force to keep the gun steady through the whole pull, like my shots were tightening up. I mean, the accuracy went up tremendously, and I'm like, there's something to be said about actually gripping the piss out of the gun. And I thought I was. I mean, I thought like I'm doing just fine, but then I put that heavier spring in, which forces you to actually engage the muscles more, and I was very pleasantly surprised at the return on performance
Yeah.
that I got out of just running a slightly heavier spring in there, and it was great for training.
My issue is over gripping. Like
Hmm.
if I sit there and I grip on the pistol, like I'll start over gripping with my dominant hand, and it's harder for me being a year and a half, 2 years for not shooting a ton, not to feel the recoil and then having my firing hand tense up. So like I've been doing a lot of kind of like longer 10-shot, 6-shot strings with the grip keeper and just trying to like make sure that my non-dominant hands kind of stays in the position where I'm going to manipulate it and not pull the sights because I'm trying to be very conscious of what my grip is going to feel like aiming at things 30 yards away. Like
Sure.
aiming at the license plate of another vehicle 30. This is in a parking lot. This is not while I'm driving. Like I don't admit that on the podcast.
That's on the Patreon side, kids.
If you haven't driven down the freeway while dry firing in the middle of the night
Are you really a gun owner?
at yard signs doing 80, are you really serious about the sport? Are you serious? Because I'd question it. Anyways, so just trying to keep the dots return and seeing what I'm actually putting into the trigger. Like I would love to get a Beretta type grip keeper and put a dot on it. I am just not willing to put a dot on a Beretta. I'm, I'm,
Why? Because other than they kind of look ugly.
They
outside of the Langdon. The Langdons look pretty decent.
Langdons look pretty decent. It's just the plate and the other part with the Langdon one. It's like hopefully the resurgence of the Delta Point footprint with the Vortex Defender will bring a
Hmm.
kind of a Delta Point back into that system. I just have like Berettas I really don't want to be cut on, and I'm not happy with the Beretta's factory solution. Like the Beretta's factory solution is not like a military grade solution.
No,
It's like the
no,
only
they made it for JJ, and that's about what they did.
and the Langdon one, like it's tougher, but I'm not sure. Like I have a very similar one on my P30, and it's I'm not saying it's bad work or whatever, but it's not as robust as some of the other options that are out there. I
Well,
mean,
the
like
easiest way to really think about it, Tommy, is like all these like guns like this, the M&P and things like that. They have a top that will readily accept an optic, whereas the Beretta,
the Beretta
all of
has
the
no
solutions
material. The Beretta has
exactly
no material. Like if you're on the YouTube, you can see it's like I got to get a ring light, but like the top of the extractor is where my fingernail is,
hmm
and that's how much room there is till you get to the extractor. So that was always the problem. And then of course on the Berettas, you have, if you can kind of see here, if I can position, you have the firing pin block that as the trigger gets pressed raises up, and so you need to kind of design that. And so like there's room on like one side of the pistol to put 3 screws or 2 screws, but there's not on the opposite side of the pistol. And so Beretta's solution is 2 screws in line with each other, and then that wasn't that great. And so when they brought out their optics pistol, they would literally did the Tony Systems solution, and then they have like the dolly or whatever plates that can push in. And then a lot of like the best almost thing is just to use a cut on the slide and then use the dovetail mount
dovetail mounts.
for the back of the gun, because that's somewhat more rigid. But then you run into the problem with the safety, and that this is the reason why that 92X Performance did not put on a slide mounted safety. They needed
Right.
every little bit of material, like, and that would be something like I would be interested in to shooting, even though it's kind of like a bastardized 92. But there's almost no hammer fired gun that a service caliber pistol that would do it. Like some people have like the SIGs, but they're not really. The SIGs being made today are more gamerish and collector than they are service pistol. Like the only people who are making optics ready service pistols are CZ with the
Right.
Nocturnes, the Nocturne and the Shadow Carry. Like, and they went with like, how do we make this robust? They just went RMSC footprint for them.
Did you see? Actually, we were talking about it. The German army just picked up the CZ-P10 line
Yep,
as their sidearm,
correct. And
and that is crazy train for them not to use HK.
yeah, and like there's the VP9, which is a very strong pistol. The version of the Navy SEALs use it. Like the VP9, like I have one. It is accurate as hell. It's never given me one bit of problems. It's ergonomic as the live long day. But they got to pay for their NATO shit now, and so like they're shopping up. They're price point shoppers.
Right?
Like when you're just like, oh, like Glock's next door. How much per unit? What?
That's
How much?
what that
How much
is-
for your CZ? And like SIG's probably coming around with the lowest bid, and they're just like, no, thank you. Like we want to be.
We don't want to have the drop test problem, guys.
We want to take fire from one side and one side only, and that's and that's kind of the thing. But like the Bundeswehr and like the German like drop testing and stuff like that, like it is 2 meters, dropping stuff from 2 meters, and striker fired guns dropping them from 2 meters. Like that stuff is rough on guns, and not a lot of guns can pass those tests. But like the P10, like that's you're starting to see something where people are like, all right, there's all these different polymer frame pistols. Which ones, when new contracts come up, are actually starting to win? And we like Glock wins contracts. HK can win it if the people want to spend that much on it. And CZ, I was looking at some like video on YouTube, which was like some AI generated thing saying like, sidearms of every country, that has it. And I was just like, I was surprised to see the P10, the P10, the P09, and the P7, the original,
Squeeze Cocker P7?
no, what is the P07? Sorry, the P09,
P07.
the
Oh, okay,
P09
okay.
and P10, P09, and P07, how much kind of success that those had, and then like
Hmm.
looking at like the Nocturne and being like, okay, we firing pin spring and trigger return spring, like those are the two things that are going to go out on those things, but like serviceable
Well, and
parts.
that's the funny thing is in the Omega series, the trigger return spring, they don't really seem to break. I mean, everything will break, but
Yep.
they seem to do a lot better than the 75 series line.
Yep.
And truth is, even the new 75s, the Shadow 2s, the new springs that they put in those Shadow 2s, their lifespan is, I mean, I've heard 50,000 rounds,
Yep.
and I don't care who you are, that's pretty damn amazing.
Yep.
Most people wouldn't even hit a fifth of that in their life.
Yeah, I mean, there's the set of pistols that are starting to go away, like the Berettas. Like, there's plenty of countries that still have 92s. They're moving away from that, but it seems like when people still have hammer guns, there's going to be some adoption. CZ's made a name for themselves in Ukraine with the Bren 2s, and
Hmm.
going to be with the future Bren 3s, and like the P10's kind of where it's at, like the kind of chaos that they had before that.
Right.
That's being shaped out by the pistols that were made 5-6 years ago. Like, it's becoming their time to shine. And an optics ready P10C, it's like that's a pretty dang good modernized pistol, and you'll start seeing the adoption of other stuff. Like, you'll definitely see some Glock Gen 6 options, but you'll see some Echelon options. People start picking those up as they go on. Like, it's pretty decent. It's cool. Anyways, got a front sight for the Beretta. Today I got my reloading equipment. I went to Lowe's last night
Yeah.
and cut out some new counterboard, some micro, what did they call it, MDF.
Plywood? Is
Yeah,
it plywood or MDF?
it's like the super thick MDF, like the compressed redwood stuff or whatever. It's the
Eh,
thick
that,
it's
that,
the
that-
thick robust stuff that will. And
Honestly, for what you're doing, that's going to be just fine.
yeah,
It'll be just fine.
well, there's a sheet of plywood underneath it, and I was like, I could pull off the
Exactly.
plywood,
That's
just
exactly it.
resurface the top. Got the Torx head out with the premium wood screws and drilled it in and
Hmm.
mounted the bad boy and plugged everything in and made a bullet. And I was just,
I love it.
do I
I
have
love
to
it.
do I have to pull that bullet? Absolutely, because I forgot what charge it was, and if I was shooting 124s and I'm loading 115s, and I'm just like, well, that looks a little long, and it probably doesn't have the charge in it, but we'll start from there. So super
So
excited
so
about it.
the great Squibnandez has
He's returned.
temporarily
He's
returned.
returned.
All the
It's nothing.
people rejoice.
It's nothing but light strikes and no powder, baby. It's
Yeah,
it's.
I got a bucket filled with that right now, so I understand this problem.
I have not had it's been 8 years. Like, it's gonna be 8 years soon that I've 7 years for sure that I've not gone to a match and worried how's the ammo gonna perform. Like, it's all made power factor. Like, I haven't had any, like, maybe I've had like one or two high primers or something like that, but like I have
Yeah.
not had an issue with any of the bullets loaded ever since I got that Dillon 650. Yeah, and so
Thank you, Ed Jackson.
yeah, everyone kind of after that Barry Steel Open where I had
Oh,
nothing but a
yeah.
bunch of light squibs, and then it was just like, okay, like it's
And then
it's time.
Steve's like, I'll sell you some stuff at market rate. Wait a damn minute, you bastard.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember, like, Steve was like, "I'll sell you some stuff at market rate," and then Robert's like, "Well, I'll sell you some ammo for the rest of this match." And then he was just like, "Well, let me see." And then, working for Gallon at the time, and he's just like, "This will be 4 cents a round." I was like, "Absolutely. Do you have any more?" I shouldn't even brought ammo. 4 cents a round for a 9 millimeter. Gosh, dang it! So
That was good
it
times,
was a
man.
powder charge and a 2 cent primer. Was the cost for those things? So it was great.
Actually, I did the captain. Actually, I think when that happened, we were still running on those S&Bs when you could get them for like about $15 a thousand.
Yeah.
If you stacked your coupons and junk like that. And I remember we bought so many of those things. It was like an entire hazmat, and we just had them sitting there and just slowly started going through them. I miss those days. I miss those days so bad. That was
Yeah.
good times.
Well, I was sitting there, drilling in the press, and like I just unhooked it from the old house, brought it over to the new house in the Armada, and screwed it all in, and and then a primer fell out, and I'm like, God, it's like 2 cents. I gotta go find it. We have that coated floor, the ceiling on the floor, the sealant,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah.
it's
It's the
camouflage.
epoxy
The
flooring kind
epoxy
of
floor,
stuff.
it's hard to see like a primer or something because it's kind of concealed. And this is like, that's like 2 cents. And I looked at it, I was like, nah, goddamn, I bought that stuff for $8, $80 a thousand. Like, no, that stuff might even been like $100 or $120 a thousand. Like that
Oof.
was 2020,
Oh.
2021 stuff. And so then I was just like, gosh, dang it. So then I was just like, well, it's like 15 cents. Gotta go look around for this thing. And
Started looking around for that stupid primer. Where the hell
well,
did
I
it
was like,
go? I tell you.
I was at the old house pulling everything off, and I was looking at the ground, and it's like all like old spent primers, that don't make it in the cup.
Yeah.
And then it was, little flakes of powder everywhere, and I'm just like, and then I go to the new place, and the new place is all clean, and I have it drilled up a little bit of sawdust. I'll hit it with a shop vac, and then I'm just like, oh, this place looks nice now. It's gonna be a mess. Like it's gonna be a mess. There's gonna be like powder spill. Like granted, a lot of the stains and everything were from the Loadmaster days, but it's still reloading's filthy. It's just a filthy process. So
It is. It is. But the funny thing right now, so I have two 1050s and a 650. And the past month, I've been using the 650. And I just have to say, I mean, like, the 1050 is a good one. It's a commercial press. I love the 650. I think, like, bang for the buck, there is no better press on the planet. It
Ten-
just works. It's simple and straightforward. And if you have a problem, you call them up, and they are the sweetest people in the world. They'll tell you what's wrong, and then they'll ship you the parts for free.
1050 is the rifle press.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
1050
That's
is
how
the
you have to
rifle.
look at it, right? That's
1050 is the
exactly
rifle
right.
press. Any other thing that you're gonna make for cartridge wise, that's a straight walled cartridge, the 650 does it in spades. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't do more that will cause problems. They're not extra stations that will
Yes.
cause problems.
Yes. Exactly.
It gives you one
That is
extra
so
station.
true.
It gives you one extra station, and you can bullet feed or you can powder check. How dangerous are you? And then it will go like, and even the powder check, it's like it's not foolproof, and it's still kind of annoying sometimes. But the
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't
like
even use. I bought a powder check, and it for small. If you're using like rifle and stuff like that, it's probably better. But for small things like
yeah,
pistol, it's not even worth it.
it's not precise enough. I think to kind of do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like there's nothing that's better than for having those 5 or 6 stations. Was it 5 station? Yeah, on the 650 or 750 series, because it's enough not to get out of sync. It's enough not where you're like ditching powder because you got 3 other stations till you get to the next station where you're actually going to load on. Like next
Mhm.
station gets powder, next station gets capped, seated, crimped, into the bin. It's fantastic.
You're done.
It's a great.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Yeah, like I said, every time I use it, I'm just like, this is really the flagship product. I just think they just did such a great job. And I actually, this is stupid. I know this is totally stupid, but when I load on the 1050, it's just like I have a job to do and I'm getting this job done. But I actually enjoy loading on the 650, and I don't really enjoy loading, but when I use the 650, I'm like, yes, this is actually enjoyable enough that I'll keep doing it.
Yep.
It's stupid. I acknowledge that, but I actually like loading on that 650.
Yeah, it's I Paige showed me later, but I was setting I was in my church clothes and I brought everything over, and then I just started like I was like, oh, well, I'm just gonna place the top counter, and I just want to sink a screw in opposite corners just so it stays in place. And I have my little wood clamps
Right.
down, and then I screw that. So I was like, all right, well, like 2 more on this side, 2 more on 3 more on this side, and then just like put the press. And I was like, you know what? Like I've normally had it all the way over. I'm going to 18 more inches to the left, so I have some places to put things on the right of the press. Give my hand a lot of clear. Move it over. It's like, all right, well, like I got it marked out. I've already, put. I'm just gonna pin the opposite corners. Pin the opposite corners. Like, all right, well, let's drill and pin down the other 2 corners and sink the nuts and put the washers on. And then I do that, and then it's just like, well, let's lay everything out. Let's see how we want it. And then it's just like it's like, let's put the powder measure. Let's fill up the powder measure. So it was just I got done, and then like Paige, I took a picture of it, and Paige apparently went to the garage and took a picture of me, and she's like, you just were so happy, you're like in your element. And I'm just sitting there just like putting everything back. Like it wasn't it didn't seem like it was going to be as big of a deal, but it was like, all right, like now it's like I sunk the last screw on the thing, and it's like now my life's officially back together.
Yeah,
That's how it
this
felt.
is trains for Tommy.
Yeah, this is trains. This is emotional, autistic trains for me, which was
Right?
just like I sunk it down. I was just like, okay, like now I have everything. My life's back together. Like, all right, yeah, we can
Yeah.
do this. So, anyways, what's not back together? USPSA kind of lost big in the John Burt lawsuit.
Birded?
Burt lawsuit where they said he had no standing. Turns out he did have standing. He won the lawsuit, and so um, adoption, like obeying the judge's orders, adoption of the bylaws. John's been very clear of that over the past little bit. If they just adopt the bylaws, the bylaws that they accepted in January, if they accept those again, then he'll drop the lawsuit and everything will go on. Will USPSA go away? No.
Well, he also said he dropped the lawsuit if people voted to have him step down, and he still kept the lawsuit. I have no faith that he's actually going to drop the lawsuit. He's going to write. This is a guy who is semi-retired and he has nothing better to do, and so he goes and he just decides he's going to sue some backwoods inept shooting organization who admittedly has done a lot of stupid dumb stuff
Well, the one
that
thing, the thing that kind of gets me on it, it's just like I've gotten used to this behavior over the past couple of years dealing with somebody, which is like they can see the end game in front of them, where it's just like,
Mhm.
okay, like we have, like we are not gonna stand up to any type of legal scrutiny, and then it's just like, what shall we do? Like we are still gonna go forth and pretend and like do every effort when um it is reasonable to believe that these things aren't going to work out and another path is needed. Like I think we're just playing like the final moves on the fraudulent behavior of previous members of the board.
Potentially, dude. Honestly, I don't I think this is one of those things where the federal government sues the federal government and it makes a lot of headlines. But meanwhile, all of us down in, Salt Lake City, Utah are just like, the information's interesting, but could you guys just go figure this out and solve it? Because
Yeah.
functionally, I don't care about either. I don't care about you Democrats and I don't care about you Republicans. I just know that whenever you two agree on anything, I'm going to get screwed over. That's kind of like the USPSA, John Burt, all that sort of relationship. Just you guys go off and do your thing, and I'm a life member, so I don't care anymore. But just stop screwing me over,
Yeah. Well,
and I don't care what you do.
I don't want to lose my $500 life membership. That's for sure. Like I'm very invested in USPSA, but the way that the terrain looks to me at 30,000 feet up is the board knows that if people get in the books, there probably won't be much of an organization by the mismanaging it of other people. So like the new board is like trying to like cover the tracks and be like, we have to keep the organization going. We want to keep the organization going. We have the goodwill and intent to keep the organization going, but this stuff cannot be
I
brought to
I
light without
I don't
serious
know.
legal
I don't know
problems.
about. I don't know about that, Tommy. I really don't, because in all businesses, you're going to do things in years 1 and 2 of your business that when you look at it in years 5 and 6, you're like, oh, that was a problem and we shouldn't have actually done that. And so then you go and you're like, okay, well, hey, Mr. IRS, here's what we did. We screwed these things up. And they're like, okay, fine, whatever. There's no penalty, or hey, there is a penalty. But a lot of businesses go through that in the early years. And the problem that you have, and I'm just going to say straight up, I'm not defending USPSA. I'm actually looking at this just from the perspective of of my own personal company, right?
Yeah.
Like we've screwed things up, and then we come back at it, and our accountant, he's like, no, you guys were doing this personal stuff out of your business account. You actually need to solve this, but it's all on the books. And so if somebody came in and they went through all of the years of my books and they're looking at that, they're like, hey, these guys are total scumbags. They were cheating the system. It's like, no, we just screwed up. And then we fixed it. But if a person wants to, they can create a narrative and say, oh, we did all these bad things. And it's like, no, we just screwed up.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so there's a part of grace that I give on that. At the same time, the org probably did some shady ass shit. They probably did. I mean, we have to acknowledge that that probably happened. But at the same time, there's that back of my head that I'm like, well,
every
maybe there's another story.
everything under whatever level of scrutiny looks terrible. And like, well, and that's the deal. You can always move the goalpost and move the parameters of any conversation to make anything look evil or terrible or bad. Like, just remove context, and everything can appear the way you wish
Yeah,
it to appear.
that's
Um,
fair. Yeah.
the what I would probably say about that though is like some of the stuff that's about the people having their kind of day in court with USPSA probably need to happen. I mean, we saw the stuff with Yi Min, we saw the stuff with Stager, we
Witowski.
saw the stuff with Andy. Arn. We're
No, no, Scott Arnberg.
Scott
And
Arnberg.
Andy Arn's our
Yeah,
local
yeah,
boy.
yeah, Andy. Yeah,
It
sorry.
took me a second to
I
figure
was
that
just
one
trying to,
out.
yeah, Scott.
Like,
They're both
wait a
kind of
darn
bigger,
minute.
tall guys. Um, with Arnberg, like we saw a lot of this stuff, which was like, all right, you're out, and that's done, and there's no public hearing to kind of hold your side in front of the membership, and so like I can see some of that, like that would be a decent thing to put forward because, um, the organization has and not really this board as much, but the organization has had this idea of, um, if you criticize elected positions, then we can just remove your ability to vote for those elected positions and move you on.
Yeah.
And so,
No, that's a fact. That definitely is a thing. Perception is a bitch. I mean, the way that people perceive you, if and Slipsa is going through this right now, and we had our annual board meeting and stuff like that. And I actually made a comment to a couple of them. Is like the biggest problem that Slipsa has, in my view, is a lack of any communication about what is happening at the board level, because most people, 99% of the people, don't care. They really don't, and there's no reason to care. Everything's running. There's no problems. But at the same time, when something happens, if people don't understand, if there's no communication, no narrative that's being put out saying, "Hey, this is all the things that we're doing," then the best worst idea shows up, and it will run rampant through the entire organization before the truth can ever get out. And by the time the truth actually does get out, the it's been poisoned so badly that nobody even wants to believe them anymore.
yeah,
And Slipsa particularly, they need desperately to get better. They just need somebody. It doesn't matter who. They just need somebody to even just sit in on the board meetings and then just put a little blurb out, like a newsletter or a post on Facebook. Hey, this is what the board did this week. They've been doing all these things. They're working on all these taxes. The board went through and they had to fix all this big huge tax issue that nobody knew about, and honestly, nobody cares. But it was a big issue. They lost their
well,
501(c)(3) status.
uh, people's interest, if people's lack of interest is not a permission for
No, no, certainly not.
lack of transparency. Like it's just like, oh, like what's my congressman getting paid, or what are the? It's just like, well, there's not that much interest in insider trading, so like, who cares?
Right. My grandpa had his shop, and he had this statement that he always told me about customer service. He says, if you do a good job, if you do a good job for a guy, he'll take his card, he'll pay his bill, and he'll leave, and you'll probably never hear from him again. But if you do a bad job, that same guy will go stand up on the overpass of I-215 with a sign for 8 hours telling everybody how horrible of a person you were. Nobody comments on all the good that you do.
yeah,
We just don't do that. And so if things are running, people don't care. People
yeah,
don't care about anything when until it affects them, and then it's like everything you've ever done is wrong. And it's like,
yeah.
no, we screwed up this one area.
Well,
Yeah, but you screwed it up big.
the analogy for like the USPSA as an organization is like people would wrong them, and then they would stand on top of the overpass and tell everybody how they had wronged them, and then remove them from there without the court of public appeal, like, in there. Well, not just the court of public appeal, because that kind of people had their say, like, on the circuit of the podcast and in the news of it, but they didn't have any real appeal to do it. And as far as Slipsa goes, it's like, um, yeah, like some people can mess up or whatever, but um, if yeah, well, it's hard to gauge people's interest, but definitely the how many eyes on you is not a reason for lack of transparency and just putting stuff out.
Correct.
Even
Correct.
the driest. Here's the minutes. That's it. We're not spicing it up. There's no fancy catch line. We're not pushing out to get everyone in the Facebook group. But like, here's the Facebook group. It's or here's where we've posted it. Here's the little handout piece of paper from the minutes you can get at the local match. Like,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
stuff
No, I
we've been
mean,
seeing earlier.
you being proactive is in everything that you do, in just making it so that if people have questions, they know where to get the questions, or the questions get answered before they become questions. Stuff like that is always a good thing. And there's generally very, very few valid reasons for keeping people in the dark on stuff that they are involved in.
Yeah, and reasonable things that you would.
Sure.
I don't.
We're not
It's not.
giving you the nuclear codes. It's not
Yeah,
like that,
but
right?
it's
And
like
you're not getting that.
it's like people. There's plenty of people that are in the shooting business or in the shooting industry or competing who understand how organizations work and like how like taxes would work, or how you should, what you should do with revenue and the cost of things and the transparency of what you have to put out there and what you don't have to put out there. There's plenty of people who have run 501c3s and know how to stay in compliance. So like the idea that we have to keep everything hush hush, or something went wrong, or we can't enlist the help of certain people, like it's kind of just there's such a diverse amount of people who are in the sport and even in local clubs that just tapping someone on the shoulder and asking them to take a look at something or to communicate isn't a it's not a stretch, because this is not a sport for people who work at Walmart.
Right, right,
Right?
right.
This is like there's like college. Here's what you have college educated people, or people who would have the equivalent to a college education, who are in professions that due diligence has to be done, because you got to make, you probably got to make, well into at least some six figures. And if you're not doing that, like, you're really like, this is the most important damn thing to you in your life, and that's what you're spending your
Hmm.
money on. And then there's like
Yeah.
very high end, like competent blue collar people that are doing this. It's like they're tradesmen, but they're process oriented people that have to deal with, like, what should we do first, and then in this industry we have to do that, and we have to stay in compliance and all that other stuff. So there's plenty of smart people to lean on and to take a look at, or to adopt into a board, or share information, or take something. But you know things happen like that because either that's not the interest of the people who came in to run the organization. Their interest is in matches, or shooters, or providing a good time for people like that. And then on the USPSA board, like, it's like they're paid elected positions. And the other part too, it's like there's a level of protection in the organization for people's jobs. And that's not a bad thing, protecting people's jobs. Like, if it was so bad, if previous stuff was so bad that the dissolution of the organization would be a consequence of other people's actions and other people trying to be like, hey, don't look at this, and that's going to cost 12, 15 people their jobs, absolutely people would fight that to the end. Like, even
Hmm.
if they're perfectly fine in their own careers, like, there's still people that you're responsible for. And so, like, they're
Right.
like, we can fix this. It looks bad. We don't want the company or the organization to be dissolved. We don't want to have to adopt these bylaws because that will lead to a dissolution or other legal problems. And like, there's it's not the club level, and it's not a level where, like, well, I would say there's an incentive at that level to protect as many people as possible because it is people's livelihoods.
Right. I don't know. It's at the end of the day. I mean, at the end of the day, if the org shut down tomorrow, it's not going to change
This
anything.
is
We're
literally the
still going to run matches.
this is the worst time for USPSA because honestly, if they went away, it's not like we'd be like, well, we don't want to shoot yet. We'd all shoot PCSL.
Yeah.
Everyone would adopt it. Like there's a enough of a pure shooting sport um, organization that's out there that's got their act together that people would do that, and it wouldn't just be like, oh, well, we don't want to shoot IDPA. It's like that's not even going to be an option. The
Right. Well,
adoption rate is going to
IDPA
be
is dead.
the adoption rate would be 98% for PCSL, 1% for outlaw matches, and 1% for like IDPA. Like it.
Yeah, and the people always say they'd run the outlaw matches, but when you look at the attendance of an outlaw match versus a any organized match, I mean, even IDPA, um, organizational structure brings more people in than Billy Bob's Country Warehouse in Sioux Falls, South Dakota,
Yeah.
Fun Time Jamboree, right? That's just the way it is.
And with the resurgence of everyone deciding to shoot concealed carry, I did this like two or 3 years ago for a season, and everyone was just like uninteresting. And now someone's like, "Hey, there's a concealed carry belt," and then everyone's like, "Oh, that's right, we'll shoot less effective equipment now because it's more fun." And that's what everyone's doing. And on that note, Robert,
I got so for Black Friday, there's a company, Carry Concealment, out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and they actually make a concealed carry belt designed just for competition. And so you can put your magazines in.
and they're magnetized magazine
They're
pouches.
magnetized in. You can kind of see this on the show if you watch it on the YouTube. But that whole pouch for the magazine it's just a 3D printed element. It's nothing sexy, and you have your standard Kydex.
Hold it
But
up a
that'll
bit more.
hold
Yeah.
that'll hold a shadow too, right?
Yeah.
And so it works pretty darn well. And it's a great setup. And I mean, and Carry Concealment, they built this thing fast. They shipped it really, really quick. They were super responsive. I was happy. They sent a message saying, "Hey, there's this part that didn't come in, but we'll get it to you." They actually sent me a text message. I'll get it to you on this. And I'm really sorry about that. And I'm like, dude, it's totally fine. I'm not really worried about it. But I really appreciated that. And it's really well built. I like it a lot. I think they've done a great job with it. And so I tried it on, and the nice thing is with my my Dominate Defense or American Operator gear belt that I have, it just mounts into place. It fits perfectly. I like it a lot. And for the conceal carry, the belt series thing that we're doing, it's going to be a lot of fun. But conversely, interestingly enough, I was talking to my buddy Zach, and he said, "Hey, go look at these was a tier one concealment.
Yeah.
Tier one
Yeah.
concealment that's out of here in Utah, and they have one that just actually works straight off of the streamlight, off your weapon light. And so same time I bought that, and they still haven't shipped it. So from that perspective, if you need a concealed carry holster, carry concealment. Don't go with tier one concealment, because when they say 5 to 15 days, what they really mean is 5 to never. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure it's like everything, right? I mean, like everybody's just backlogged for Black Friday, but I'm a little bitter that I don't have that holster yet, because I want to shoot my M&P.
Well, the T-Rex was always fast shipping. ComTac was always fast shipping because all this stuff was like pre-made. Like it just drops.
T-Rex is hard for me because
I haven't bought anything from them since the Lucas thing, but like
I know, and I don't like the boycott world and stuff like that. I get it, but at the same time, I mean, it was Lucas's company, and it's kind of squibbly, sketchy. I don't know. I actually like what Isaac does. I like the stuff that he talks about. I don't like the family drama.
yeah,
Who knows,
for me
dude?
they just don't make anything for P30s, and I have all the Glock stuff I would want. The one thing I'll say about one of the things I learned when I was shooting from concealment is like generally in carry optics and limited optics, you're only going to use one reload, right? So you're going to have one magazine.
Yeah.
And the thing that I found was kind of important was when you have the magazine, having two magazines in front of the shirt right next to each other was no good.
Mm.
And the reason for that is that when you pulled the shirt up to clear, Sometimes it would clear, and sometimes it wouldn't clear because it would get caught on the second magazine. And so what would happen is, and then the other part is too, it's like your hand when it reaches down, it doesn't want to go for the magazine that's closest to the holster. It wants to go for the magazine that's on the outside because that's the
Hmm.
uncrowded magazine. And so,
Sure.
like when you go down for your first magazine pouch, like on the side, or if it's at like at the point of your hip, or if it's at the front of your body at your appendix, when you come down, it's uncrowded. So the path to the magazine is uncrowded. When you're shooting concealment, and you have two magazines up front, your hand's going to go, and the one that it's going to go to is the one that has space on one side, and not the other one, and then it's going to pull that one out. Well,
Right.
what happens if you pull that one out and you have your hand has gotten around the shirt, and so you grab it and you're pulling out, the front part of your shirt will hook up onto that magazine,
Hmm.
and so then you can have the drop magazine. And I found the best solution was one magazine up front, and then a magazine on the side of my hip, on the back of my hip. So if you have another one right here, you have a chance of snagging. So you put the magazine over on your 9 o'clock, so as a left-handed shooter, right
Right.
underneath your armpit, so that you could get to the magazine on the front and the holster. And when you needed that spare magazine, that extra reload or that malfunction magazine, this one over here would be accessible, and it wouldn't be something that would catch the front. Because when you're doing with the concealment stuff, it's all what's catching and what's not catching, and where your hand can go, because you're constantly worried about the shirt getting caught up and pulling out too much or too little. And so spacing out the magazines was super helpful. The first little bit, it was reloads were like 90% of the time they would go off without a hitch. And
Hmm.
then 10% like it'd be a magazine on the ground or a magazine wrapped up in the shirt. And like if you pull something and you get it wrapped up in the shirt, you just let it go and run your hand along the side and grab the second magazine out from the side of your body. Because like it's the emergency parachute. It's not next to the other equipment, and it's still there, and it's fine.
Right.
So
The cool thing about that, I guess, is Keanu Sai. He has a CSRG, Competitive Shooter Resource Group. He actually makes it's a 3D printed single mount mag pouch that works, and so you could put that off to my 9 o'clock in my case,
yeah,
and is your bailout mag essentially.
yeah. I used when I had the Glock and I was shooting with the T-Rex arm sidecar. I had the T-Rex arm sidecar was the first magazine, and then when I was shooting with
Mhm.
my P30 and my VP9, I used two JM custom Kydex high rides. So this
Mhm.
is a magazine pouch. The pouch is actually pretty long. And so the magazine only sits halfway down into it, and it's adjustable for the height. But the bottom part would push against your body, and then so the magazine would not flop as you ran. So you
Oh
you
yeah,
you have
yeah.
you have a longer stick that's put down your pants, but it's much more stable. And so that way, with those two single magazine pouches, I could space them out. So instead of having everything directly right up front, I could have one that's a little bit more to my appendix, and then the safety, the backup magazine would be to the back of my hip on my support side.
I
So
dig it.
yeah, it's
I think it's really cool that what's you're seeing with the concealed carry kind of thing going on right now, because what's going to happen is the same thing. And remember talking to Zach about this, but all of this innovation, all these ideas that are coming out now are functionally going to change and grow how concealed carry actually works in the real world, in the same similar way that when USPSA started hammering the piss out of all the dots and forcing the companies to actually make stuff that would stand up. You're now going to start seeing more and more companies building these concealed carry gear that actually works for what people legitimately need to do. And whenever you have that, I'm always down with
yeah.
that. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
But
there's
Yep.
there's a lot of great companies, but the one company that I've constantly gone back to for concealment holsters is JM Custom Kydex. Like they make race pouches, they make their Claw 2.0, 2.5. Like those are my favorite holsters. Period.
Yeah.
Like, and I've been using those for a while. Like even my T-Rex stuff, I replaced that with that, and that was a much smoother kind of setup. And it's what I carry around with my P2000 or my Glock 26 or whatever, or those Jam Custom Kydex ones. So they're fantastic.
That's awesome.
magazine setup. So and the one thing that you learn about shooting from concealed carry for these matches is that it really becomes like, it's not just like, I'll get my race belt, I'll get my Henning hanger or my Boss hanger, and I'll get my Ghost magazine pouches, and that's the setup. Because the
Right.
one thing about the concealed carry is like, your body is definitely different, and stuff is more comfortable or less comfortable, or more covered or less covered than it is. And so like, you'll get something, and then you'll be like, oh, I need the equipment closer, or then it's like, I need the equipment farther away. Because if you're one of these guys who's just like, I have to have that thing like on my right appendix to the right of everything, and then I have a magazine pouch that's basically pointing up into my belly button, then it's just going to be like, well, this isn't the solution for me. And so
Right.
that's the nice thing about the concealment market, is that you're going to start seeing all these different things. The only thing that scares the crap out of me is that we are going to have what the boomers hated 10 years ago, which was appendix carry. Not in my class. You're going to shoot your dick off. And then we had what we called the 2011 evolution in USPSA, where everyone and their mom now makes a single action trigger hammer fired gun, and it's the most popular division. And it's just like, well, I don't want to shoot 2011. It's like, oh, we got a DWX for you. You're like, oh, thank God. And so and so this is starting to happen. And so now we are going to start, and like, it's not like these people are like, it's a 4-pound trigger, that's a little too light. It's not like these people are looking for 5-pound triggers, or God forbid a grip safety. Like, these people don't want any of that nonsense anymore. And we're going to start putting the combination of me go fast, me want to win a Stingray, me have a 2-pound trigger, and I'm carrying concealed. Oh, and then like on the single action gun, I'm going to try to wrap my shirt up into it while I get a grip. Is it drop safe? Let's not talk about those. Let's not talk about those things. So like, this is I'm sorry to sound like a FUD or a safety like Nazi here, but like, there's a reason that people changed their actions when people were carrying guns around trying to shoot people, and like carrying them concealed. It's like, there is a reason the 1911 went off when they pulled the trigger. Single actions work. CZ75s, like single actions, like that stuff all works. But what they were thinking is like, what's a way that we can make this not go off, and make sure that the first one, we mean it.
Mm-hmm. That's why the DASA is still, hands down, the best concealed carry. Practically speaking, is still the best concealed, because
Yeah.
like, you can let off that double action. You can't let off the single.
The Glock still's like, it's not a pre-cock striker, but now it's just like, we've gotten even away from like having like drop dinguses on the triggers, and then people like, every new modern polymer is freaking single action or whatever. At least the Echelon has 2 sears, and the CZP10's like a proven drop safe design. But like, we are gonna get to the point. I'm not so worried about the carry optics guys actually shooting carry optics guns. We are getting to the point where like, we are starting to mix things that we have learned are not good combinations, and especially having guns on the front. Guns on the front of the body that are light and may not have firing pin blocks, and then impacts to the back of the hammer because they're on the front of the body. They step under a table, they squat down, they stand up, they're loading ammunition. The gun shouldn't be hot, but we're gonna run into things like, we've gone pretty far without having people drop guns and shoot themselves, but now, and like, people not shooting themselves in holsters because they're to the side.
I don't know, man. I had to patch a hole in a guy who shot himself while it was on a side holster. So
Yeah, like you've been doing this for like 12 years. You shoot every weekend. Like, you got one guy who did this. So, anyways,
no, it's fun. It's gonna be fun. I'm excited for it.
If you want to shoot something that's fantastic, and you want to put it close to wherever you want to put it, for safety, for not safety, Check out American Operator Gear. They make safe products. They're just belts. You can't do anything with them. They're so rigid you couldn't even hang yourself with them because you can't tie them in a
Th-
knot like that. You can't do it.
And they're an ethical company.
And they're ethical. So it's all fantastic. So use them. They don't take other people's ideas, and then they don't sue them or their family members because they're ethical and they're good people. American Operator Gear, use promo code PARA10, and it comes with 70% more dignity, 70% to your dignity roll.
Only if you use
Only if you use PARA10. Use them and then compete in the belt series with the actual best belt and the original belt. American Operator Gear. I don't know who I'm talking about, but I just feel like words are falling out of my mouth. Also, check out Rune Tactical. You're in production. You got a 15-round Beretta magazine, and you're just like, son of a gun, I want to get 16 in there so I can Barney it from the beginning like it's an old IDPA day. Rune Tactical. You can get anything you want as long as it's +1 magazine extensions and other firearm spring kits. Check them out. Use promo code PARA10. Save 10% off your order. It's a magazine and follower kit system. Get more. You're going to be shooting concealed. You only really going to probably have 1 magazine on you. It's time to get some more ammo in that thing because you're going to drop a magazine and then you're going to be like, I hope there's 2 bullets left in that magazine that I still have in the gun. And there could be just 1, but with Rune Tactical, it could be 2. Promo code PARA10, save 10% off your order. And W74 guide rods.
You need to make that gun thick.
When that gun goes off on your junk, you want to make sure it stays in the holster. And the only way to do that's to keep it pretty heavy. So head on over to W74, get a tungsten guide rod, get tungsten batteries, get everything your heart desires. They actually are. It's the best thing to balance the gun out. Guide rods, lights, accessories, fantastic stuff.
I think the tungsten batteries are the best way to balance out this light boy M&P. Like,
Yeah, the M&P is. It's light in the back. It's light in the back. But it's supposed to be because that's for somebody who carries around things. Remember the German armory when they said, we need a full steel gun, they said, no, sir. No, sir. Get that boat anchor off them. Promo code PRA10. Also, Telegram messaging app. Search PARAcast chat. You can ask us questions. We'll do our best to answer them.
From our good friend, the humble marksman David Blanton, when will we ever get to a point where we stop focusing on the guns and just focus on the competition?
Yeah, there are. They're called winners. And
Oh.
people who do lots of winning, they get a gun, and then they shoot that for a long time. You know how many Instagram reels I see Jay Bill trying out different guns? It's like, no, he's got the same thing all the time. He's stepping on Legos. Why? Ask that question to the man. Why? Why do such things? Farm boy stuff. I don't know.
Because herding goats isn't that lucrative. You only got 1 gun.
But there's plenty of people who don't care about that stuff, and they're people who win consistently, who aren't chasing the gun. And the time that you will see them chase the gun, they'll move stuff over. But when we watch Niels, remember when that year when he won every division that was what did he win? Production, carry optics, anything he could squeeze that metal frame Canic into, he did. And I remember listening to Ernest Langdon 9 years ago. Ernest Langdon came out. I hosted a class, and Ernest came out, and he was talking about when he won production in 2000, and he won, stock service.
You know the weirdest thing? When he won production in 2000, 25 years ago.
25 years ago. Yep.
Holy crap.
And he won that, and then he tore up all IDPA, and then he won CDP in 2003 and 2005, and he was like, I want to take a run at an enhanced service pistol. And he bought himself an STI Eagle 5.0. 5-inch STI Eagle, got the magazines tuned, got it all set up, got the trigger he wanted, and he went out and shot some drills. And you know what he found out? He was faster with his 92.
Yeah.
That's when we stop caring about guns, when you want something more. When you want something more, you'll stop caring.
I have a great answer for him. Dave, you should lead from the front and stop making videos with guns in them and only focus on the competition, and then come back in 6 months and let us know how that worked out.
Like the
Yeah, that sucking sound will be your subscriber count going
I
down the
I d-
drain.
I don't want
People
to
like the
I
guns.
don't
They
want to go
just
to
like the
Dave's
guns.
YouTube channel and then like I'm gonna sort till we get to a competition topic and not a gear related topic and just scroll by views. And then all that's gonna do is my right finger's gonna get tired doing this on the scroll up, you know. And it's like it
Scrolling,
we just
scrolling.
we're into it because we like guns. Like I got like there's Vickers guides right there. And that's
Well,
just
actually,
that's just pictures of guns.
actually, here's an interesting observation, which is probably pretty true. How many people, um, they saw USPSA and they're like, I want to shoot USPSA. How do I go do that? Oh, I need to get a gun. Versus how many people are like, hey, I got this gun. I want to do more with it. And then they found USPSA.
Yeah, well, they generally
You know?
how if they have a gun and they do it the gun into USPSA range, what do? I need to get a different gun. There's very few people who start with the gun that they enter USPSA with and then keep that gun for
Well,
the next.
they'll start with the gun, but they'll usually. Oh golly, I don't know anymore, dude. I mean, some of these people showing up to the new shooters match, like, yeah, I got this staccato HD, and I'm like,
Because we did not used to start at the highest end. Because
ah.
now you start with the staccato and you go like, well, I think I need the Artemis. And then people and that's enough of a price thing where people go like, "Oh, I could do this." And then people go like, "Oh, the staccato P, like that's a very it's hard to say like this staccato is not reliable enough for what you're supposed to be doing in USPSA and it's not accurate. Like staccato's like it's a fantastic product. Like it's a great
Mhm.
product. It's expensive. It's a great product. But before like people were showing up with like I got a SIG SP 2022. Shoot that. Ooh, man, I think the jam is a Glock. Like we saw so many people migrate to a Glock 34.
Mhm.
They brought in whatever they had. Like, what do you have? And it's like 2007. It's like I got a Walther P99. 3 months later, I bought a 5-inch M&P core because this is what I need. And then like that's how people did the
I
progression.
started out. How did I? Let's see. I started out with a Glock 23 that had a conversion barrel, and then I, within a month, went to a Glock 17, and then I don't know, about 6 months to a year, I found a 34,
Yeah,
and that was the progression I took. So
until you got the SPO ones.
until I talked to somebody and he said, the SPO ones are the jam. And I was like, okay. And then I just never left CZ
Yeah.
because I just happened to like the CZs.
Yeah, and what you collect now is different variants of somewhat of a Shadow 2 or a CZ75 platform.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Yep.
And so that
Yeah.
you'll see the progression, but yeah, like people will stop caring about what's new and what's great. I even still care, like there's many times where I just go to like Dave's videos and I'm just like, all right, like if I was going to do X, Y, or Z, this is what the thoughts are on these products. Like if I want to shoot production or whatever like that, or if I want to like, if I do well in production, if I make GM in production, kind of check that box. Do I want to take a Beretta into carry optics or shoot a Glock into carry optics or the new Glock or like the, 92 performance or something like that? Like that's the thing I do.
Yeah.
But
The most interesting videos to me that Dave does is definitely some of the competition stuff, the competition videos, because I understand that world. But as far as the guns, the 2011s don't really move the needle for me. I like all the other stuff that he reviews.
yeah, like his
That's the
stuff
stuff
on.
I actually really
I
enjoy.
watched his video on optics. Like that's the thing
Yeah.
I'm looking at. Like I'm looking at optics. I'm like trying to match what I want and what my needs are and the guns I have to
Mhm.
that. And so it's like, but that's still gear focused. Like we're not going
Yes.
to get
Yeah.
off of that because like we're all looking for that one thing. What did I say? Not the tactical advantage, but the comfort and interface. And I think all the guns are pretty
Yeah.
much equal now. And what we're trying to do, like there's durability or reliability kind of things and accuracy, but pretty much you can throw a rock and hit something that's accurate and very reliable. And now what we're looking for is the comfort and interface. And we used to do it with the handguns and the grips and the ergonomics, and now we're doing it with like the dots. Like what
Mhm.
dot does my eye see? What the color is? How big's the window? And how do I want to interact with this thing on the gun?
Oh, I didn't tell you. My very first SRO, it's not dead. But I gotta say, I gotta finally send an SRO back to Turgicon. I mean that's a pretty damn good life for how long. It's when I look at the dot, it's just fuzzy. It's like
Yeah.
there's something in the way of the emitter fuzzy, and I kept wondering like because I mean everybody's like the SROs just go out, and I know they do, but they're still the most reliable. But I actually finally had an SRO that it still works, is still accurate, but it's just
Yeah.
fuzzy.
Yeah. It's just this is the lifetime that Trigicon products will start to go, and the other optics on there haven't been around, but like people are killing defenders. Like
Yeah,
defenders go out. They're a Vortex product. They will go out. So
yeah.
it's
But
whatever.
you know, Vortex will stand behind it. So I mean, you got that going for
Yeah.
you. From Rory, what's the best buy sell trade tool for competition specific stuff? Still Facebook groups?
All right. Go ahead.
I've been kicking around the idea of having a Facebook chat or group for our local club for people who want to sell or trade gear since it's such a niche community. What basically what where?
I've never wanted to buy belts or anything or pouches off of anybody or holsters off of anybody, and I like buying guns from people who have no idea what they're dealing with. That's
Mm-hmm.
and like if I go into a competition space, like I got a pretty good idea. Like they're gonna want like the competition space is gonna be filled with people who want to get their money that they put into the gun, but most likely you could probably get this because people when they're in a competition mindset, they're watching Dave Blanton videos on gear, and then they're like, "How much does that gun cost?" All right, well if I sell this gun for 80 cents on the dollar, I could run over to Shields and go buy that one, and then my life will be back together, and I will be able to pursue excellence at the pace that I know I can because this thing is the thing
Out
that's
with the
holding
old
me back.
girlfriend, in with the new.
This is the if I get this Eagle 5.0, it'll shoot better than my Beretta, and so that's what
I
they'll do.
don't. I don't. I actually don't know. I don't because like locally there's Utah Gun Exchange, but that place
It
has become a sketch balls place to me. I actually won't sell guns because I hate that website so badly. I know nothing about Gun Broker. I don't use it.
gun
Um,
brokers decent. It's just like they're gonna take their cut, and we're so used to
yeah,
things taking the cut. And Facebook, the other thing about Facebook is like Facebook is pretty rough on stuff like that. And the other part
yeah.
too, it's like you're also putting your name out there, and like it's not hard to find where people are, or where people live by putting their name out there or whatever like that. Like, I mean, that's a place that could be advertised or put out on something like on an uncensored platform like Telegram, but you just don't have the eyes on it. It almost seems
Hmm.
like X would kind of be the place where you would start something like that. People can be anonymous, use usernames, can private message with everything else, and then you don't have really a censorship problem with them coming by and being like, "You guys are selling guns," or "You guys are a business." But like that's always hard. And then for the some of us who are wheeling and dealing for our success, might run into the problem of selling too many guns in a year, being considered a firearms dealer, and then literally having a chat of like what you've sold this year. So
Let's see. From Alex, imagine you're going on a cross country drive to the East Coast, the South, and back to the West. You will spend time in banned states and free states. There is a chance of encountering large bears. What two guns do you bring on your trip?
what do you
Well,
think?
the 10 millimeter gang.
The Glock 30, 10 shots of
Yeah,
10 millimeter.
that's the Glock 20, right?
The
Is
Glock
it
20 is the full size. Sorry, the Glock
full
29 is
size?
the 29 is the subcompact 10 shot 10 millimeter pistol. It's basically the subcompact kind of in
By the
between.
time Do you think by the time because you have such a reduced barrel length, by the time you lose all of the velocity, at that point, are you just shooting a spicy 40? You think?
Probably a little bit more than a spicy 40. Like, but if it's like hard cast, like it's still gonna
Sure.
pen. Like
Sure.
there's
Yeah.
there's plenty of stuff like the Glock that's in every caliber would be pretty much something that would work. And then like You would just have like your full size gun, which I think was probably just like a Glock 19 or whatever like that. You could
Right.
have either one of those would be fine. 10-round magazines. I'm not gonna let the magazine capacity, like getting reduced capacity magazines, move me from what I'm good with shooting.
Yeah.
So it's just like everyone who eventually has to compete somewhere else or back in the IDPA days, like you would, if you had to go shoot in California, you like this Berettas, like I got like 3 or 4 10-round magazines, and like you just have 10-round magazines, you take them places, and so like if I'm really good with X, Y, or Z gun, like I'm just gonna carry that gun with the 10-round magazine, and if I have to shoot something that's heavier, like you can get yourself a Glock 30 for cheap, or you can go get yourself a Smith and Wesson Model 69 Combat Magnum, 5 shots of 44 Magnum, and trash your wrist and get mauled while that fifth shot goes off, and you can't keep shooting anymore because you're like, oh, I'm gonna get a revolver, and then it conceals worse. All those.
Well, yeah. To be fair, this is Alex asking. So really, what he's asking: what two suboptimal revolvers do you bring, and why is one of them a 22 long rifle?
Let's
Last.
you're gonna carry a full size Beretta with 10 rounds and a Deagle and 50 Action Express. I'm gonna
Yeah.
carry a Mark 23 and a Deagle, Mark 23 and 45 and a Deagle and 50 Action Express.
It's the HK UMP 45,
Yep, that's what I'm gonna carry.
the gun we need, not the gun we want. Uh, from Sebastian. Other than burnt gunpowder, what is your favorite smell first thing in the morning, and why is it? My answer? Obviously, napalm. Of
Napalm.
course, has to be napalm.
The well, what would I say? My favorite gun smell is definitely like Full Metal Jacket. Like the coat had always had kind of a weird, kind of
Hmm.
not pleasant smell to it, but some of those
Blue
old
Bullets is
bullets,
the worst. Have you ever noticed that?
yeah,
Blue Bullets has the
blue
worst
bullets,
coated bullet smell of anything out there.
yeah. It
It's You can always smell somebody shooting blue bullets before you see what they're actually shooting.
If you get like a nice pistol warm and it's got some like rem oil or something on it like that, like a nice lubricant, and it's got like a Full Metal
Yeah.
Jacket, like it just smells good. It just
Yeah.
smells good. It feels good. It's what it's supposed to be.
Hoppies. You can never. My
Oh
wife
yeah,
hates it, but you can't go wrong with hoppies.
cooked off hoppies on a gun.
Oh,
That's fantastic.
it's good times. So anyway, there you go.
That's it. That's a show. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for doing all that stuff. You're helping Robert on his many trips to Disneyland, where he can sit there and wave to people and then call him by his first name, and then he can not ride rides and then wonder what he's doing. So you guys can do that. Also, Dave Blanton, Humble Marksman, check him out. Thanks him for sending a question and putting up all the fine content he does. Anyways, for Robert Wyatt, I'm Tom Nelson, bidding you peace, love, and souls. We depart into the open waters of the sea of life on a little tugboat we like to call the PARAcast.
Night, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. As Captain
Ho
America
ho
said,
ho. Now I have a machine gun.
yeah.
We, I have that queued up. When I upload this thing, our Christmas movies of the year, Die Hard, is going to be watched.
Yeah, I will probably start with like "It's a Wonderful Life" or something like that. The when all of a sudden when you take on a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old who aren't used to such movies, you gotta kind of.
Okay,
Mike's like, let's watch Die Hard, and it's just like we can't
I
do that.
completely forgot there was that nude scene in there, and like I let my son watch it for the first time, and I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, yeah. Don't. I'm always like wondering about that stuff now because they're just like, well, that's nothing. Like I could just go on my phone and find something 80 times better, and like whatever. So, anyways, okay, we'll see you
Night,
guys next week.
Cool.